One day, I came home to find my room completely empty. What the heck is going on? Behind me, I heard a triumphant voice from my sister-in-law. Childless, unproductive old woman like you can do nothing but stand in my way. Get out! Sister-in-law was trying to move me out and take over my parents' house. I was single. That is ridiculous. I'll thoroughly investigate your wicked scheme. My name is Catherine. I'm a single 40-year-old office worker. It's not that I've never met someone good, but for various reasons, I ended up never getting married. Sometimes I feel lonely, but, well, that's life. I've reached the age where I can accept that marriage isn't everything. Being single is indeed carefree. Plus, there's a matter of taking care of my parents. I have one older brother, but he lives far away from our parents' home. My brother left our hometown to pursue his career, and since our father passed away 3 years ago, my mother had to live by herself. Living not too far from my parents' home, I became concerned about my elderly mother and decided to take the plunge and live with her. Now it's just the two of us, 2 women, enjoying our peaceful days. However, my mother, whose mind is still sharp, broke her leg a year ago and has become disabled. She has difficulty walking with a cane, and she mostly moves around by car or wheelchair. She's somewhat disabled in the house as well, and has become in need of care. Because I am single and able to live with her, she has been taken care of. If I were married and living elsewhere or living far away, it would have been quite difficult, so I guess it's been all right that I'm still single. Yeah. That said, while I'm content with my life, there's someone who's not happy about it. My sister-in-law. My brother married a woman who is much younger than him. So even though she is a sister-in-law, she is younger than me in her early 30s. A young sister-in-law. My brother's family lives far away, but they come home for the holidays like Christmas and summer vacation. However, for some reason, every time they visit, the sister-in-law is harsh towards me. This past Christmas, when my brother's family came to visit us, the sister-in-law came over and whispered in my ear, "Catherine, still mooching off your parents, I see." What? No, I'm not exactly mooching off them. Living at your parents' home at 40 years old and being single, if that's not a parasite, I don't know what is. Is that so? Yes, I'm raising 3 children, you know. Do you get what I mean? What do you mean? The population of our state is decreasing, isn't it? Our family is contributing to the population increase. Singles like you are truly harmful. Harmful? Do you enjoy decreasing the population? Is there any point in being born if you're going to be single for life? She goes that far. At least have a child or something. What she said struck a chord within me. Although I am single due to various reasons, there was a man I wanted to marry. But there was a bit of a problem with my body. Simply put, I can't have children. He asked me to be in a relationship with him, and since he had an intent for the future together from the beginning, I laid out everything on the table for him since day one. He said, "I just want to be with you, even if we don't have kids. As long as we're together, I'll be happy." So I agreed to date him. But marriage turned out to be more than just the 2 of us. The trials and dramas we went through ultimately led me to stay single. The appalling words of my sister-in-law left me speechless. And yet, she had the audacity to take advantage of me financially. We have 3 kids, you know. Be fair with your Christmas gifts. We expect them to be generous. We expect you to gift us some money as a kindergarten enrollment celebration, and it's gonna be at least for $1,000. You're not so poor that you can't afford that, right, Auntie? Don't you want to provide a proper education for the kids? Oh, right, you don't have any kids, so you wouldn't understand. But I let you have the joy of raising our kids, so pay for their extracurricular activities. It's like she thinks if she uses the kids as an excuse, she can get away with more money. Sure, I'll give gifts for occasions, but I don't understand why I have to bear with her tisk-tisking after she checks the amount of money in the envelope on the spot. And why should I be the one to pay for their extracurricular activities? When I bring it up to my mom or my brother, they make incredulous faces, unable to believe such audacity of my sister-in-law because they haven't seen it. That's right, she only ever behaves this way when it's just the 2 of us. She's pretty slick. This past New Year's holiday, she immediately opened the New Year's gifts I gave to my nephew and niece. It was while my brother was out of the room, having stepped away for a moment to help my mom with something. She spat out, "Huh? This is it? This paltry sum is your gift? Just how poor are you, you stingy bitch? It's another comment that my mom and brother find hard to believe, so I'm thinking I should start recording her. However, there would be such negative repercussions on the family relationships if I keep tattling on, so I can't say much. After all, my mom has 3 adorable grandkids. If my complaints lead to my sister-in-law refusing to visit, my mom would be deprived of seeing her grandchildren. That would be too sad for my mom, so I just need to be quiet. If I can just dismiss her harsh remarks, everything will settle down. That's what I thought, until the situation completely changed one day. It was a weekday when my sister came over. It was during the week, so my brother was at work and I was working from home. My mom was at a senior daycare center. The kids were at the daycare and they were going to their maternal grandparents straight after. My sister-in-law was visiting me alone. I was wondering why she was here on such an unusual day. Then she got right down to business. You know, I've been thinking that we should move in here. Excuse me? Talk about a bolt from the blue. What on earth is she trying to say? You mean move in? That's what I said. We've been thinking of moving in here. Who's we? Our family. Where exactly? Don't make me repeat myself. Into this house. Why? Because I'm pregnant with our 4th child. What? In my brother's family, they already have 3 kids. The oldest is in early elementary school, the middle one is a kindergartner, and the youngest just started preschool. Even though they already have 3 kids, they're having a 4th. I can't help but be impressed. However, they currently live near the sister-in-law's parents' house, so they probably get help with the kids like today. If so, what's the advantage of moving over here? John's gonna be transferred here, that's why. John is my brother. Oh, I remember my brother mentioning something like that. Apparently a branch office is going to open here in our hometown. Who wants to go to the branch office? Me. Apparently he volunteered for the position quite willingly. I wonder why the personnel decisions can be made so casually. Is it okay with you, sis? I mean, wouldn't it be better to stay closer to your parents' place? My parents are still working, so I really can't rely on them too much. They start to frown if I ask too often, saying stuff like, ask your husband first, or don't make children assuming you can depend on your parents. It'd be hard to mention that we were having a 4th, right? That's your business. How would I know? I can understand her parents' perspective. According to my brother, when he comes home from work, he does the cleaning, the laundry, and even prepares dinner. My sister-in-law confirmed that that is true. Even though he must be tired from work, my brother has always been very considerate of his wife and has helped as much as possible. It could be because of this that my brother seemed tired whenever I saw him from time to time. Still, isn't having another child a bit too reckless? Yet, life is a gift. It's a happy event, and I have no intention of saying, why not just stop having kids? But why are they planning on moving in with us? I must have looked puzzled, my sister-in-law continued. It's a hassle to deal with my parents, and where we live now is just too remote from everything and too inconvenient. So instead of letting John live and work by himself here, we thought it would be nice for all of us to move in. Well, there are a lot of daycares for kids here, right? So, Catherine, could you please move out soon? Excuse me? Once again, I'm taken aback. What the heck is my sister-in-law saying, for God's sake? As far as moving in, let's discuss that with my mother and brother, but why should I be the one to move out? Think about it. We're going to be a family of 6 soon, right? That's true. So isn't this house going to be too small? Well, that's true. Well, I suppose so. That's why I'm telling you to get out. No, I don't understand what you mean. Having 6 in the family is a lot, but it's not impossible for 8 of us to live together, including my mom and myself. Of course, when the kids grow up, it's impossible for all of them to live in an individual room, but I didn't think there was any point in worrying that far ahead. My sister-in-law, annoyed by my increasing confusion, raised her voice. I mean, come on. You're in the way. You, an old woman, can't even have kids. For our sake, get out. What? Oh, and don't move too far away, okay? You're still going to have to look after our kids. What? After ranting, she added, get out of here soon, and then went home. This needs a family meeting, yeah. That night, I told my mom about what Susan had said and called my brother. My brother told me that he'd arrange a separate house for his family. Sure, I've been traveling a lot for work, and I think it's been tough on Susan. That's why we were living near her parents' home in good old Nebraska. But is she really so bothered by the countryside? On the other end of the phone, my brother sounded confused. There was still something that was perplexing, but her idea of moving into our home was temporarily dropped. Well, that was supposed to be the case. One day, after a stretch of working from home, I went into the office for the first time in a while. My mom was away from home, staying overnight at the daycare. Exhausted from work, I came home to get stunned. What? My room? Everything Everything's gone. Believe it or not, my room was empty. All of my belongings were gone. What is this? What's going on? This was undeniably my own home, yet my room was missing. To be precise, my stuff was missing. Where are all my favorite things? I threw them away. All of them. I was screaming in shock when a sudden voice came from behind me, making my heart skip a beat. When I turned around, there was Susan. Susan, what are you doing here so late? Shut up, you'll wake the kids. What? The 3 kids are here? Until the beds arrive tomorrow, they're sleeping on the living room couch. I rushed into the living room where my nephews and niece were sound asleep. What's going on? Looking at me, completely stunned and at a loss for words, Susan laughed and said, "You wouldn't leave the house, so I had to resort to drastic measures. I'm not leaving. I've already talked to my brother about this. Do you think you can just do whatever you want? Don't you have any idea how many people you're inconveniencing?" Who's the one doing whatever they want here? I'm the one inconvenienced. I really wanted to get those words out of my mouth, but I held my tongue because the kids were asleep. My sister-in-law, Susan, ignores my considerations and loudly declares, "Who cares what your mother or brother says? If you move out and our family moves in, those 2 wouldn't oppose this idea for sure." What happened to my stuff? I had a junk removal service take it all away. No way. Did she really throw out all of my precious things, including my photo albums? This is unbelievable. Come on, if you understand, then get out. Wait, no arguing. I tried to resist, but she's younger and stronger than me. Overpowered, I was thrown out of the house, right there. It was at night, and making a fuss wouldn't do me any good. She ignored the doorbells and the phone calls as well. With no other choice, I spent the night at a no-frills hotel. The next day, I took a day off from work and rushed home. As I was about to unlock the door and enter the house, Susan came out faster. Susan, I tried to contact my brother but couldn't reach him. Let's talk anyway. My husband is on a long business trip abroad. The time difference makes it hard to get in touch with him, you know. I was about to leave, so make sure you look after my kids. Susan! Leaving me in shock, she left quickly. She was all dressed up and everything. With no other choice, I looked after the 3 kids and had a bitter expression when I welcomed my mom home in the evening. Mom, isn't this a bit much? Yes, it's a bit much to ignore John's opinions and be so forceful. Leaving the 3 kids and going out is unbelievable. If she wanted to leave the kids with someone, her own parents would be the best option. Yes, what are the real benefits of living here? Speaking of which, she went out quite dressed up. Really? There might be a clue in that. Agreeing with my mother's words, I immediately requested an investigation from a private detective. A month later, I now live in a 1-bedroom apartment as a temporary residence, which I had to find in a fluster. My room in my parents' house has been completely remodeled by Susan, and it's nowhere near what it used to be. John was furious, saying, "Don't do as you please," but she seemed to argue that once they moved in, it'd be their place. And she also seemed to say things like, "You're often away from work, aren't you? I thought it'd be nice for the family to stay together, so I came along. Raising children is really hard. It's just natural to live together with your family and get help from them." When he mentioned that my mother was in need of care, she responded, "Catherine is there, isn't she? She's just at home all the time. She must have a lot of free time." I'm not sitting around. I'm actually working from home. But Susan seems adamant about not letting me back into the house. Don't you dare think you can get away with this bullshit forever. We're gonna have a talk. Without assertive statement from my brother, a family meeting was held today. Why so sudden? I'm pregnant. Let's wrap this up quickly, okay? Susan grumbled as she rubbed her still not visibly pregnant belly. Ignoring her, my brother, Mom, Susan, and I, 4 adults, huddled together in the living room. By the way, we've left the kids at a weekend daycare. First off, Susan, please apologize for disposing of my belongings without my permission. At my words, Susan scoffed and said, "It's your own fault for not moving out sooner," without an ounce of hesitation. "People like you who can't even have kids should just live in a run-down apartment." Yes, it's true that I can't have kids, but I was living together for Mom's sake. "But your mother-in-law would be happier living with her grandkids than with you," Susan said, looking at my mom. My mom replied, "Of course I'd be happy to live with my grandkids," but hearing this, Susan smirked triumphantly. "See? Did you hear that? It's much more meaningful for us to live together than an unproductive person like you." But, ignoring Susan's words, Mom continued, "If they were my real grandchildren." Huh? Susan was dumbfounded, not understanding my mom's words. At that moment, my brother presented a large envelope. "What is this?" "The result of your affair investigation." My brother responded calmly. "Huh?" Susan seemed surprised and stared at my brother, who continued speaking, unflustered. "You thought we wouldn't find out, didn't you?" What are you talking about?" I didn't cheat on you. Really? So these pictures are photoshopped, huh? In response to Susan's denial, my brother spread several pictures on the table. In them, wait, no. There were photos of Susan flirting with a guy. I thought it was strange when you forced us to move away from our parents who help with the kids to move in here. But the city is more convenient, isn't it? But you're not even using any childcare services and pushing the childcare onto Catherine, aren't you? Well, I need a break too. Then why not use the childcare service like today? It's a waste of money. Do you think I haven't given you enough money? I'm saving up for our future. What does that mean when our bank account is down to zero? Saying this, John spread the bank book. Indeed, it was completely zero. What? Hey, why are you just looking through that like it's nothing? It's our family money. Of course I have the right to check. So where's the savings for our future? Well, in a different account. Oh, really? Let's see that bank book then. I don't have it right now. Where is it? Well, As I watched her continue lying, Susan finally stumbled on her words. Although it wasn't particularly hot, sweat trickled down her forehead. Maybe in the attic? At that moment, John smacked the table hard. Enough with the lies. Can you still make excuses in front of this picture? Oh, sorry. It was just a momentary lapse of judgment. You've been having an affair with this man for a while. Ever since we got married, right? The guy told me. What? No, why did you talk to him? He's got a family too. He told me everything under the condition that I wouldn't tell his wife. What? He betrayed me. The one who betrayed us is you. Susan seemed flustered in front of John's angry face, but eventually she seemed to regain her composure and the sweat had stopped. Then she said, well, I do regret the affair. I won't do it again. Of course not. But I think it's better not to divorce. It's better for the kids to be with their mother, and more importantly, I'm carrying a new life in my womb. You don't want to be apart from the child, do you? Looking at me, Susan continued. You can't expect grandchildren from a childless daughter, and if I take the kids and leave after the divorce, you'll never see your grandkids again. Is that what you want, mother-in-law? Then she turned towards my mother. Seeing our silence, Susan laughed triumphantly. See? Isn't a barren old woman just a nuisance? It's natural that she should leave. Susan stomped around, huffing and puffing. But then, something unexpected happened. Mother quietly said, well, you who are totally unproductive to me should also leave with your child. Huh? As she started to smile, puzzled by what she heard, John presented a document to her. What's this? Huh? DNA test results? Negative? What is this? It's the result of a DNA test between me and the kids. When did you? That ain't none of your business. Anyway, the results are as they are. All three, they aren't my kids. And here are the results with your affair partner. Confirmation, meaning they are indeed your kids. What? Huh? My kids ain't mine, meaning they're not my ma's grandchildren. They're complete strangers. No way. It ain't a lie. You knew it, didn't you? You knew, and you pulled a cuckoo move on me, didn't you? I didn't. That's what the other guy said. You said, it's sad that our children can't live together as a family, to him. Susan looked so pale, she might fall over at any moment. And then my mom gave the coup de grace. So you're a burden because you can't bear my son's children. Please pack up and leave with the kids and hurry. What? Are you going to throw us out into the street? Such young kids? You monster! It was then that Susan cried out, trying to elicit sympathy. The monster here is you. A different loud voice echoed through the room. Susan spun around and her eyes bulged. Dad? Why are you here? And Mom too? Yes, there stood Susan's real parents. They've agreed to take all the children once I explain the situation. You stupid daughter! Can there be a more disgraceful story as a parent? I'm sorry. Apparently, Susan can't hold her ground against her father. Her face turned blue as she sobbed. John, and to his mother, and Catherine, I'm really sorry for my stupid daughter. We'll definitely make her pay for the damages. Damages? Wait a minute. I can't afford that. Are you going to pay for me, Dad? No way. I'll front you, but you're paying me back even if it takes you a lifetime. So, her father took Susan, who was seriously on the brink of tears, away without waiting for a reply. Her mom, who kept bowing deeply to us in apology, was quite memorable. Even though they're good parents, they raised such a daughter. Raising kids is tough, isn't it? I found myself musing about this in a rather carefree way. Then afterward, my brother John ended up getting a divorce without a hitch. The money for the alimony and what she had splurged on her infidelity was apparently paid off all at once by her parents. The kids were taken back to their grandparents' home. They had often been left there before, so it seems they're growing up just fine without any confusion. The kids didn't do anything wrong. John, who had always thought they were his real children, said this with a touch of sadness. There's no way you can accept it when you're suddenly told they're not yours. I'm hoping that one day John's emotional wounds will heal. 3 years later, John found a good match and had his real child. But that's another story. As for my brother's ex-wife, Susan, she gave birth to her 4th child, and sure enough, when she tested it for peace of mind, it wasn't John's child. Under strict supervision of her parents, she seems to have been working like mad from morning till night for a while. But she seemed to continue her relationship with her lover undeterred. In the end, her affair was also exposed to her lover's wife. After the huge fight, more alimony was incurred, and it seems she was kicked out of the house by her parents. No one knows what became of her after that. As for me, I'm living peaceful days while taking care of my mom, same as always. In fact, the personal items she disposed of were all retrieved on the same day by contacting the waste disposal company. On such a peaceful day, a familiar face appeared before me. It's been a while. The person smiling before me was the guy I once thought of marrying. I couldn't forget about you, and I have been single all this time. Even my parents finally gave in. They have a rather selfish reason. My brother got married and had a child. They told me I could do as I please about marriage. Caught off guard, he presented me with a ring. It may be too late, but I can't think of anyone but you. I want to help you take care of your mother, so could you please marry me? Unable to hold back, my face crumpled in tears. Without hesitation, I jumped into his arms, where he held me with a gentle smile.